forward the first 4 chapters of Canto 7. But before that, we will speak the prayers to Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. We are now going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, in the matter of Hiraṇyakaśipu. And after Hiranyaksha dies, what does Hiraṇyakaśipu do? In third canto, when we were discussing about Lord Varaha's pastimes, we heard about Hiraṇyakaśipu, how he was delivered by Varahadev. Hiranyaksha was delivered by Lord Varahadev. Seventh canto starts with what happened after that, from second chapter. First chapter, Maharaj Parikshit has some inquiries. Before we go to that, we will like to announce the participants of the quiz for session 37 yesterday. From Facebook, we'd like to thank Ranjani Gopika Mataji, Barsana Chitra Mataji, Meena Mataji, and YouTube, Swati Mataji, Vijeta Mataji, Geeta Varadarajan Mataji, Vrindavani Mataji, Hari Krishna Madali, Trilokini Sakhi Mataji, and Shweta Suryanarayan Mataji. Thank you so much for participating. We heard all of your feedback that you very nicely filled. Thank you very much for filling the feedback form, which is on the WhatsApp group that we had sent. And many of you have said that you'd like to also know the right answers. And many of you actually give the correct answers. But we will work on getting the answers to you soon. All right. So with this, we start with the Srimad Bhagavatam and prayers to the previous acharyas. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramyakaśidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Vakalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhor Matamidam Tatradarana Para. All right, so we start on Canto 7, Chapter 1. The Supreme Lord is equal to everyone. In this chapter, Maharaj Parikshit asks two questions, and Shukadeva Goswami very, very philosophically answers those. He gives his conclusions concerning how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though he's the super soul, he's the friend and protector of everyone, still he killed the Daityas, the demons, just for the sake of Indra, the king of heaven. And everyone asks, isn't the Lord partial? And actually, one of these Bhagavatamrita sessions, we did hear one question. Someone asked, why is Indra is doing so many mistakes? Why is Krishna and Vishnu come again and again to protect him of all people? And then punish him for mistakes, and then come and protect him again. This is the love of the Lord. When we are acting on behalf of the Lord takes care of us. And Indra is actually running the affairs of this material world on behalf of Krishna. And so that's why Krishna always protects the authorities, because they are his representatives. And for us, we should submit to the authorities. Srila Prabhupada would always say, you submit to the authorities. What authorities do, that's between them and Krishna. But Krishna is not partial. He is impartial. And Shukadeva Goswami answers this question. Even though he killed Daityas, he took the side of Indra, he's still impartial. He proves that because we, as living entities, our bodies, we are conditioned by the three modes of material nature. And these three modes of material nature, mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, they bind us and make us do different activities, just like a puppet. Sometimes by hatred, sometimes by greed, sometimes by friendship, sometimes by attachment, sometimes detachment. All these different, same day, we go through so many different emotions about the same topic. Because we are bound by the three modes. But Krishna, he's not bound by the three modes of material nature. He knows how to love. Krishna is Prema Parayan. Shri Ram, he is Lord Chaitanya is Kripa Parayan, and Lord Ramachandra is Niyam Parayan. So Lord Ram is Niyam, Lord Krishna is Prema Parayan, and Lord Chaitanya is Kripa Parayan, which means Lord Ramachandra, he considers the rules and regulations, niyam, to be the priority. And that's why to be the ideal king, to be the ideal son, he went to the forest. Because he said, no, even though Dashrath, my dear father, you are telling me now not to go to the forest. But you had given a vow, and I will protect your vow. That's the rule. That's the niyam. And I will follow that. So in that sense, he is impartial. Lord Ramachandra is impartial because he is niyam parayan. Krishna is prem parayan, which means for him, more than rules and regulations, he's more concerned about love. Do you love me? If you love me, then I will love you. If you don't love me, I will still take care of you. But ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. His understanding of partiality or his understanding of being impartial is, I will reciprocate with you the way you reciprocate with me. So he's impartial in that sense. His definition of impartial is, Pandavas, you love me, I love you. Sometimes they break the rules. It's okay. Krishna says that anyone who Kshipram bhavati dharmatma, he says that that anyone who commits sin, a devotee, is still having this verse in Bhagavad Gita, where it says, even if a devotee falls down, he still can come back. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. Very quickly he'll become a great soul. If he has taken shelter of Krishna, if he continues devotional service. This is the instruction of Krishna. He's Prem Parayan. And then he says, Lord Chaitanya is Kripa Parayan. Kripa Parayan is the person who is Lord Chaitanya. He is dependent, he is looking for mercy. Even if someone does anything, still, anyone does anything wrong, he just wants to give. He's just merciful. That's all he's saying. So he is impartial in the sense he gives mercy to everyone. So we see they have different definitions, but they are impartial, truly impartial, because they are not affected. None of them are affected by the three modes of material nature. But we judge the Supreme Personality of Godhead because we are affected by the three modes of material nature. And then from our perspective, we say, how can the Lord do that? No, that's not proper. Yeah. So here, Shukadeva Goswami is trying to explain the same thing. Even eternal time cannot control the activities of Krishna. What about the three modes? They are nothing. He's always transcendental. He's beyond any kind of malice or hatred. He always forgives. Lord Chaitanya, he forgives. He's so merciful. Lord Krishna, he forgives. So many people he forgives. Lord Ramachandra, he forgives. All these different incarnations, they just forgive. But we have to learn to be impartial means to forgive. Whenever a person in the authority position, in management position, they have to take a decision. They have to take a decision from an impartial point of view. And how can they be impartial? First, they have to give up the hatred or just forgive the person first, the person about whom the decision is being made. That the person in the authority position should not feel any malice towards that person because of any activity that person may have done or not done. Because our malice that blinds us. And then once we have worked upon us to forgive that person, then we can give a decision. That's impartiality. And Lord always forgives. But do we forgive? This is what we have to learn from the Lord. One time, a girl, a teacher, asked her students that there is an assignment I want to give you. What is that assignment? That here is a bag of potatoes. Each of you, take this one potato, each of you. Your assignment is that you will keep this potato in a bag and you will never leave that bag ever. It'll always be on your neck. You should always carry that bag of potato on your neck, even when you are going for morning duties. Or if you're taking bath, you cannot take it out. You have to keep wearing it. Even when you're going outside, even when you're inside, wherever you are, you're going to a friend, you're coming to school. You have to wear this bag of potato. You have to do this for 30 days. That's your assignment. And all students were, yeah, what's the big deal? I can just have this potato hanging and I'll get my full marks. That's wonderful. So then they started doing it. Now they had to wake up, they had to sleep with the bag of potato, the bag of one potato. Then they went to take bath in the morning. They would get up, they would have the potato, it would get wet, but you have to, that's the assignment. Then when they would get ready, go to school, they would all bring potatoes, and everyone was comparing their potato and things like that. Slowly, steadily, the potato, because of every day with water and so many different conditions and just being there, some growth started coming out of the potato. And then the third day, the next week, they saw that there was some kind of some kind of fluid was oozing out of the potatoes. And everyone was like, what's going on? As a result of that, that bag started becoming heavier and heavier. By the second week, all the students were, teacher, what kind of assignment did you give us? This bag is heavier than the potato it is, because there is more water and there's more fluid, and there is rotten smell coming out of it. What did you do? Why did you give this kind of an assignment? Teacher said, assignment, at the end of the assignment, I will tell you the real purport. And so they asked, they endured, this was the assignment, and slowly, steadily, it was becoming unbearable to carry that potato. At the end of 30 days, everyone was eager for that 30th day, the last day. They came and they took it out, kept it in front of the teacher and said, this is it. My assignment is over. But by God, this was such an assignment. They were so heavy, so happy to get rid of this burden. Their shoulders were aching. Their necks were aching. It was smelling so bad. They couldn't just tolerate. And then the teacher said, did you all learn your lesson? And the students said, yeah, I guess what's the lesson you learned? The lesson we learned is we will never eat potatoes now. Never ever in our life. When we eat potatoes, this is what we'll think about. But the teacher said, there is a deeper meaning to this. The way you carried this bag of potato, we all have been carrying so much grudge and revenge and hatred and envy in our hearts. And we carry it day after day, month after month, year after year, lifetimes after lifetimes. And still, it starts smelling inside. It starts to rot. We should immediately give up as soon as these thoughts come. We should give up. We should try to purify ourselves. This is the lesson of life. This is the purpose of life. To completely get rid of all the lust, anger, greed, envy, pride. And not just get rid of them, to transform them. Transform lust into love. Transform envy into compassion. To transform anger into tolerance. Pride into humility. To transform vengeance into forgiveness. That's the real purpose of life. That's what we are working. That's why we come to school for. To learn how to forgive, how to transform all of our bad qualities into good qualities. And the Hare Krishna mantra does exactly that. Mantra. It relieves the mind of all trayate. Mana trayate. It relieves the mind of all the misgivings. The second question that was raised by Maharaj Parikshit, it concerns Shishupal. That Shishupal was so inimical towards Krishna from his very childhood. In fact, as he was born blaspheming, but he attained salvation. On one hand, Krishna is partial to Indra. On the other hand, he is forgiving his worst enemy. How is it possible? And then Shukadeva Goswami says, I will answer this question. This is a long answer. Because Shishupal was none other than one of Jaya and Vijay. He was the attendant of the Lord. In the third canto, we saw how the four Kumaras were stopped by Jaya and Vijay. And because of that, Jaya and Vijay had committed an offense, and they had to come for 3 births. They came as Hiranyaksha, Hiraṇyakaśipu. They came as Ravana and Kumbhakarna. They came as Hiranyaksha, and they came as Shishupal and Dantavakra in Dwapar Yuga. In Satya Yuga, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu. In Treta Yuga, Ravana and Kumbhakarna. And in Dwapar Yuga, Shishupal and Dantavakra. So then he said, because of that, they agreed to become Lord's enemies. And that's why Shishupal attained oneness with Krishna when Krishna killed him. So the killing of Krishna is non-different than his love, because it's the same. What then to say about the devotees who always engage in the Lord's service with love and faith? But now I will tell you about these pastimes of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. That's how he starts. Due to Maharaj Parikshit's question about Shishupal, he's talking to Jai Vijay about Jai Vijay, and from there about Hiranyakashipu. And he continues from third canto. He said, after Hiranyaksha was killed, Hiranyaksha's sons and his brother Hiranyakashipu, they were very much aggrieved. Hiranyakashipu reacted very, very sinfully. He was trying to diminish the religious activities of the people. But he instructed his nephews, which means the sons of Hiranyaksha, about a history, just to diminish their aggrievement. And he told, never forget that Vishnu killed your father. Supreme Personality of Godhead, he appeared as boar. He killed Hiranyaksha. And he accused the Supreme Lord of being partial to his devotees. He said he's so partial. He's the Supreme Lord. He should be Lord for devotees as well as non-devotees. But he's very partial to his devotees. Just because Mother Earth came crying to him, just to protect her, he killed my brother Hiranyaksha. Just like a thief always tends to blame the judge. Because of you, I'm in jail. He doesn't say, because I committed a theft, that's why I'm in jail. I committed theft, that's different. But you sentenced me to jail, that's why I'm in jail. And he always has some grudge against the judge. Similarly, but judge is impartial. Judge is just judging the activity, not the person. Similarly, Krishna is simply yeyatha mam prapadyante. He is completely impartial. But Hiranyakashipu was accusing him. He began to agitate all the demons. He got all the demons together. And they started disturbing the ceremonies of the devotees. Actually, they wanted to get the attention of Vishnu. You protect your devotees? Here you go. We will disturb your devotees. You killed my brother for devotees? Here you go. I will disturb your devotees. Let's see what you can do. This was a challenge of Hiranyakashipu. He gathered his army of Rakshasas and he manipulated them in one sense. Just like Hitler. Hitler manipulated the minds of so many people. And everyone thought it is justified to kill, to have such massacre. And that's how Hiranyakashipu made all the demons justify that. After he finished the ritualistic ceremonies of his brother, Hiranyakashipu, he started speaking to his nephews. And he quoted from the Shastras about the truth of life. He first wanted to pacify them. They were so aggrieved. My father has left the world. brutally, mercilessly killed by Vishnu. So he spoke, my dear nephews, for heroes to die before the enemy is glorious. Depending on different fruitive activities, all these living entities come together and they are again separated. We should always know the body never dies. Does it ring a bell? It's the soul. The soul never dies. Oh, it's just the body that dies. The instruction of Bhagavad Gita, much before Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Krishna, Hiraṇyakaśipu spoke, but for a very, very nefarious reason. He says, depending on the karma, the soul takes birth in higher or lower species. And happiness and distress is because of material existence. One should not be aggrieved by the superficial actions of karma, which is all true. But look at the purpose for which he is employing it. That is offensive. Hiraṇyakaśipu, then he said, I will tell you a historical incident. Similar to yours, you will be able to relate to this. There was a king, Suyagya, who resided in a country called Ushinara. And when the king was killed, his queens were overwhelmed with grief, just like you all are overwhelmed with grief. Then Hiraṇyakashipu said that one time there was a hunter. Hiraṇyakashipu said that Yamaraj came as a boy to these queens who were aggrieved, and Yamaraj told the story of Kulinga birds to the queens. Yamaraj as a small boy. Typically, you see in Srimad Bhagavatam, great instructions are actually given by children. Shukadev Goswami, he was a child. He was 16 years old. That's it. A 16-year-old boy. We see Harsha Shoka in the previous chapter, in the previous canto. He was an infant. He is speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. Dhruva Maharaj, 5 years old, giving instructions. Prahlad Maharaj, we will see, giving instructions. There are children everywhere giving instructions in Srimad Bhagavatam. And right here, Yamaraj as a boy, Brahmana boy, giving instruction. Why? Because it's much easier to get these instructions from a boy. Oh, the boy is so cute. We assume that children don't have any malice. They are not saying out of envy or greed or anger or vengeance. They are pure in their hearts. So if they are saying something, must be the truth. So they accept it. It's easier to accept either very young child or very old people. It's easier to receive instructions from them. Someone who is very old, he gives instructions. We're like, yeah. He has experience in life. He's qualified to give me instruction. Even if he said something, just like Srila Prabhupada, he would call so many names to the scientists and everyone else. But we should not imitate Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, of course, because of his purity, he was able to see this and people would love it. Being chastised by Srila Prabhupada, they would love that because they knew it came from a place of love in his heart. So then this Brahmana boy, similarly with children. So this Brahmana boy, Yamaraj, he told a story. He said there was once a hunter who lured the birds with food. He would put food and he captured them after spreading a net. He lived as if they're appointed by death personified as the killer of birds. When he was wandering in the forest, this hunter saw a pair of Kulinga birds. And he put his grains, and of the two, the female became captivated. The female bird first became captivated. And then he said, O queens of Suyagya, the male bird, seeing his wife put in this danger, he became very unhappy. She was in the net of the hunter. And because of affection with the poor bird, unable to release her, he began to lament for his wife. Oh my God, look at Providence. How is Providence? My wife, she's helpless. She's in such an awkward position. She's crying for me. What will providence gain? What will the Lord gain by taking away this poor bird? What will be his profit? If providence takes away my body, my wife, she's half my body. He should take me too. What is the use of me living with half body? And these unfortunate baby birds, look at these baby birds. They'll be bereft of the mother who is waiting in the nest for her to feed. And this Kulanga bird lamented with tears. And after some time, because of the dictations of time, the hunter, who was very carefully hidden in a distance, he released his arrow and pierced the body of the Kulinga bird and killed. So then Yamaraj, in text 57, dressed as a Brahmana boy, told all the queens, small boy, you are also foolish, in a very cute tone. You are so foolish. You lament, but you do not see your own death. You are afflicted by a poor fund of knowledge. You don't know anything. Even if you lament for your dead husband hundreds of years, you'll never get back him alive. And in the meantime, your lives will also finish. I'm telling you. And he's saying so cutely. And all the queens, they were just looking with attention. And each of his words were soothing their hearts. So Hiraṇyakaśipu said, Yamaraj, in the form of a small boy, was instructing all these relatives around the dead body of Suyagya. Everyone was wondered by the philosophical words. And then suddenly, Yamaraj, in the form of a boy, disappeared from their vision. And the relatives of King Suyagya, they could gather some strength from those soothing words. Why should we lament? Why should we lament for something which has already happened? It's easier said than done, but it's the truth anyways. We should always think forward. We should never look back. We should never look back in our lives. We get so stuck about things that happened in the past. The past is past. There is no reason we should go in the past. Sometimes we try to go to the past so that we can learn. But then we have to go dispassionately. We have to go without any emotions. We have to go to the past to learn something. Otherwise, if we go with our emotions and our past brings back those emotional memories, we just get stuck in useless lamentation. So it's better not to go in the past, or if you want to go in the past, discuss in the association of devotees, never alone, because then we get stuck. It's like then we drive. What if you're driving your car while looking in the rear view mirror? If you're driving car looking in the rear view mirror, what will happen? Crash. When we are driving, we should look straight. Sometimes we can look at the rear view mirror just to check if everything's okay. But we don't dwell there. We don't dwell in the past. This is what Yamaraj was telling. This is what Hiraṇyakaśipu was telling, that Yamaraj was telling. And by narrating these stories, Hiraṇyakaśipu, he pacified his nephews and other relatives and relieved them from lamentation. And then his mother, Diti, and his sister-in-law, Hiranyaksha's wife, Rushabhanu, engaged their minds in spiritual understanding. Radharani's father was Vrishabhanu, and Hiranyakashipu's sister-in-law was Rushabhanu. It's a little different. But this ends chapter 2. We come to chapter 3. Hiraṇyakashipu, he had plans to become immortal. This chapter describes how Hiraṇyakashipu, he performed a severe type of austerity for the material benefit. He caused great distress throughout the universe. Even Lord Brahma, the chief personality within this universe, he became somewhat disturbed. And personally, he went to see why Hiraṇyakashipu was engaged in such a severe austerity. Because he wanted to become immortal. He wanted not to be conquered by anyone, not to be attacked by old age or disease. He did not want to be harassed by any opponent. He wanted to become the absolute ruler of the entire universe. With this desire, he entered the valley of Mandara mountain. He began to practice a severe type of austerity in meditation. Seeing Hiraṇyakaśipu engaged in this kind of austerity, the demigods, they returned. But a kind of fire started coming out of Hiraṇyakaśipu, blazing from his head. It was disturbing the entire universe. All the higher and lower planets, they became too hot to live on. You couldn't just live on the planet. You couldn't walk. You couldn't exist. The demigods, they were so disturbed. They left their abodes. They went to Brahma. Lord Brahma, this is unnecessary heat. Please curtail this unnecessary heat. They disclosed to Lord Brahma Hiraṇyakashipu's mission. Do you know his motive, his ambition is because he wants to become immortal. He wants to overcome his short duration of life, and he wants to be the master of all planetary systems. Even Dhruva Loka, as we understood in 4th canto, that actually Dhruva Loka is the embassy of the spiritual world in this material world. Even though it is in the material world, the laws of material world do not act on this particular Dhruva Loka. Now, hearing about the purpose of Hiraṇyakashipu's meditation, Brahma earlier was not really aggrieved, but hearing that this is his ambition, he said, let's go. He took great sage Bhrigu, Daksha, and they all went to see Hiraṇyakashipu. And then Hiraṇyakashipu, he was standing on one leg, and there was blazing fire coming out of his head. Lord Brahma came on his swan, and from his kamandalu, he poured some water on the head of Hiraṇyakashipu and pacified the fire. Hiraṇyakashipu, he came out of his meditation. The king of Daityas, he's bowed down to the Lord of Brahma, and he offered respectful obeisances again and again and again. And then Lord Brahma said, what do you want? He said, well, this is what I want. I want immortality. And Brahma said, immortality? I cannot give you something which I don't have. I'm not immortal myself. I have to die too. Even though I may die 300 billion years later, but I have to die. In terms of eternity, my lifetime, Brahma said, is just a drop of water. And so he said, Hiraṇyakashipu said, all right, you cannot give me immortality, but can you give me a benediction that I will not be killed by any living being? Brahma said, well, yeah, I can give you that. All right, tathastu. He said, okay, give me another benediction. I should not be killed in any place, covered or uncovered. Can you give me that? He said, yeah, I can give you that. All right, tathastu. He said, can you give me another one? I should not die in daytime nor at night. Can you give me that? Yeah, I think I can give you that. All right. Not to be killed by any weapon on land or air. Not to be killed by any human being, animal, demigod, any other living entity, living or non-living. Can you give me that? Yeah, individually, I can give you all these benedictions. That's it. That's all I need. Thank you very much. And he left. He further prayed, give me the supremacy over the entire universe and the 8 mystic perfections. There are several mystic perfections that we have. Anima, Laghima, Mahima, Prapti, Siddhi, Vashita. Anima means to be smaller than the smallest. Mahima means bigger than the biggest. Ishitva, which means being able to create or destroy anything or anyone at will. Kama Vashita Siddhi means being able to take any form at will. All the yogis, they can develop these 8 mystic siddhis. Laghima, being lighter than the lightest. Prakamya Siddhi, it means being in total control of one's emotions. Now that's something. Prapti Siddhi, being able to create something, poof, out of nothing. Vashita Siddhi, Vastiva Siddhi, which means being in total control of all the material elements. And he asked for all these 8 kind of siddhis. Lord Brahma said, Tathastu. That ends chapter 3. We go to chapter 4, where Hiraṇyakaśipu, after he received all of these individual benedictions, he terrorized the universe. This chapter, 4th one, it fully describes how he started misusing it by harassing, the abuse of power that he was doing. He was harassing all the living entities. By severe austerities, he attained the benedictions. And his body, because of that austerity, was completely consumed. But because he was given the benediction, his body resumed the full luster, like gold and beautiful. But he continued to be envious to Lord Vishnu. He was unable to forget, Lord Vishnu has killed my brother. And so Hiraṇyakaśipu, he conquered everyone in 10 directions, 3 worlds. And he brought all the living entities, demigods and asuras in one under his control. He became the master of everything, including the residents of Indra. He drove out Indra and he said, I am the master. He began enjoying life in great luxury. He became mad. All of the demigods except Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva, everyone else except them came under his control, began serving him. When he would feel hot, he would just say 69 degrees. And all the demigods, Vayu, Pava, Vayu and Surya and Chandra and everyone would come together. And Varuna, they would discuss, have a meeting. How can we make 69 degrees right now in the middle of the summer? And they would arrange immediately. 69 degrees is the atmosphere. Outside, we are not talking about air conditioning inside the house. Outside, wherever he is, he'll say 69 degrees. All the demigods would make sure it's 69 degrees. That was his power. He would raise an eyebrow and everyone would tremble in fear. In spite of having such power, Hiraṇyakaśipu was so dissatisfied. It is explained by Shukadeva Goswami. The reason he was dissatisfied was because he was proud. Pride is never satisfied. If we are proud and we go somewhere, we go to the temple and a devotee comes and just says Hare Krishna and goes, we feel, what? He did not pay Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya to me? Definitely he must have something in his mind. He's proud. We should have the feeling, this person, he said, he folded his hands. He said, Hare Krishna to me. Prabhupada would say, we should think this person should have spite on me, which means he meant spit on me. But in his lecture that we were hearing one day, he said, this person should have spite on me. But he's folding his hands and saying, Hare Krishna. If he actually knew what is there in my heart, he wouldn't. That is humility. So I'm so grateful that he at least smiled on me. We lament our spiritual masters, our gurus. They don't spend enough physical time with us. But all the devotees during Prabhupada's time, when Prabhupada would just look at them, that would be the sustenance of their entire life. We hear the pastimes of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and they say with such charm for hours on describing how Srila Prabhupada gave them a glance, a loving glance with tears filled in his eyes. How he gave such a loving glance, and they just melted. Devotees explain how they felt that Srila Prabhupada was glowing. There was luster coming out. He was like gold. Because of their humility, they are able to perceive all these things. But a person who is proud, whatever you do to them, they will never be satisfied. They will always want more. This was not enough. So then all the Brahmanas were dissatisfied. They cursed him with determination. We should not take the curses of great devotees. In fact, in Hiranyakashipu's tradition, Maharaj Bali, who is going to come again, we'll see, he was unconquerable. And Brihaspati told Indra, you cannot conquer Bali. Hiranyakashipu was killed, but Bali Maharaj, you cannot conquer. Do you know why? Because he has Brahma Tejas. What is Brahma Tejas? Because he has the blessings of the Brahmanas. He takes care of the Brahmanas. Brahmanas love him. The devotees love him. The blessings of the devotees has the power to make us unconquerable. Krishna even cannot do anything. He is subservient to the words of his devotees. So we should always take good wishes from the devotees. But similarly, their curses are also very, very bad. Eventually, all the living entities, they prayed to the Supreme Lord. First, they went to Brahma. Brahma pacified the fire, but he couldn't satisfy Hiranyakashipu. It became worse. So they went to Vishnu and said, what is this going on? You have to take care of us. And so Lord Vishnu informed that, don't worry, all of you will be saved from the fearful conditions of Hiranyakashipu. Just be tolerant. Be patient. Hiranyakashipu is the oppressor of all the demigods. They are the follower of Vedas. He is oppressing the cows, the brahmanas, the religious, saintly people. He was envious of the Supreme Lord. He won't last. He will be killed naturally very soon. And the last straw, which will break the camel's back, so to say, in Hiranyakashipu's case, is when he torments his own son Prahlad. Wait for that time. Prahlad is a Mahabhagavat, an exalted Vaishnava. When he torments him, his life will come to an end. And then when the demigods were reassured by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everyone was satisfied, knowing that our miseries will go away. And they were able to tolerate. Because of that, that faith, they were able to tolerate. If we have to become tolerant, a devotee is Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahishnuna, more tolerant than a tree. Where does this tolerance come from? This tolerance comes from the faith that the Supreme Lord will come and protect. One day it'll happen. And that's what the demigods had faith in the words of the Lord, and they were able to sustain themselves. Finally, in the last verse, Narad Muni describes the characteristics of Prahlad Maharaj, the son of Hiranyakashipu, describes how his father, his own father Hiranyakashipu, envied his qualified son, and in this way, this chapter ends. Next, we will see the glories of Prahlad Maharaj and how eventually Hiranyakashipu is killed by Prahlad Maharaj. Thank you very much, by Lord Nrsingadev, sorry. But through the instructions of Prahlad Maharaj, because of Prahlad Maharaj. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If there are any questions or comments, we will take now. But before that, we will announce some of the quiz questions for this session, 38. Who is Prema Parayan, Kripa Parayan, and Niyam Parayan? Second, what was the second question asked by Parikshit Maharaj to Shukadev Goswami in the first canto of the first chapter of the 7th canto? Which king's story did Yamaraj narrate as a small boy? What is the name of the sister-in-law of Hiranyakashipu? What was the name of mother of Hiranyaksha? Where did Hiranyakashipu perform his austerities? Which planet is the embassy of the spiritual world in the material world? What were the benedictions received by Hiranyakashipu from Lord Brahma? Why was Hiranyakashipu so dissatisfied in spite of having so much power? So if you have any questions or comments, we can take now. We will give the quiz questions in the comments section of YouTube and Facebook. Please respond there, and we will also work on giving the right answers. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.